boa constrictor boys and lancehead ladies. Match your yearly growth rate with your caloric intake. Freshen your fabulous fangs. And she's not a different species, she's just a polymorph.
Just so you know, when you go out into the wild, if you hear a podcast playing, walk slowly away from it because it's time to talk Tull to me.
Hold your Spotify up above your head to make yourself look bigger.
Make yourself big, but no sudden movements.
Right. Welcome back to the podcast. I am Owen Thomas Sade.
And I am Nick McGill.
Together we are the Feckless Moans.
And this, my little shoelaces, is Talk Tull to Me.
A herpetological hallucination in the serpent sack of prog rock, in which Narrowhead Nick and Ophiology Omen will unhinge our jaws in order to talk Tull about every single track that reptilian rock band Jethro Tull have ever fertilized through their cloacal opening and laid to hatch in the damp, warm, dark holes of our ears.
Gross.
We will bite a boomslang with Bushmaster Martin Barr. We will grant Andrew Gartersnake Giddings a wide berth just in case. And, while trying to work out if it's Doane Perry or Jonathan Noyce basking there on a warm rock, we will remember, red against yellow, you're dead, young fellow. Red against black, you're okay, Jack. That's how you tell the poisonous one. Okay. And if we can keep our hatchlings happy and avoid vengeful venoms, we might just spot the forked tongue of the python of Piccadilly, the squamata of Skye, the viper of virtuosity, the cottonmouth of the claghorn, the moccasin who keeps it thin, my anaconda do want some, of Ian Night Adder Anderson.
Yes. Yes, your anaconda do.
My anaconda do. And in all seriousness, the boa constrictor problem in the Florida Everglades really is an ecological misfortune.
Invasive species.
And so a big thank you to all those brave Floridian swamp folks who go out and catch the boa constrictors, often with their bare hands.
Do they rehome them or euthanize them?
They rehome them to the happy hunting grounds beyond the Veil of Snake Death.
The marsh upstate. They send them
to a big marsh upstate where they have plenty of room to slither around. Yeah. Nick, welcome back. Hello.
Omen. Here we are.
I have a serpentine question for you.
Please slither it into my ears.
Have you ever kept, as a pet or companion, a snake?
I did not. Ray had a gorgeous white corn snake when we first got together. She had her for a long time, yeah.
Was that an albino one?
No, because the eyes weren't red.
Okay, because I know they do have albino snakes.
Yeah. No, this one was just like, it's also super rare, I think, but it was beautiful. It's like white with almost like leopard spotting along the sides. Yeah, she was gorgeous. Medusa was her name.
Oh.
She was very lovely. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a snake for about 9 years. But enough about my ex. No, I had some garter snakes when I was a kid. They were, we had a lot of terraria, and so I would catch them and stick them in there for a little while, then release them later. Or the cats would eat them.
Yeah, naturally.
Yeah, natural cycle of life.
I very regularly see garter snakes around here, particularly when I'm mowing out by the road where it has like the ditch that collects water.
I see them flying past my face in little chunks.
Little pieces. And we call baby snakes or teeny tiny snakes shoelaces. That's why I refer to everybody as shoelaces.
Delicious.
Yep.
Hissing of which, Nick, what are we talking about this week on the podcast?
Good save. We are talking about Black Mamba, which is song number 11 off of jtull.com. We're about 2/3 of the way through at this point.
If you have, or if anyone has ever seen .com on vinyl, this would be on the second side.
Doesn't exist.
But it doesn't exist.
So if you have, you're a dirty liar.
Seek help immediately. And how did you know that it was a dream? Well, you see, Your Honor, at the point when I put a vinyl record of .com by Jethro Tull onto my record player.
Just get rid of him. This is awful.
This whole courtroom is sleeping. Okay, Nick, why don't we have a listen to Black Mamba?
Sure. Let's do that.
Nick McGill.
Oh, and Thomas Said.
That was the song Black Mamba.
That it was.
How doth it rock to your ears?
It's pretty rocky.
Yeah.
It's pretty rocky. It's not up there as a favorite, I would say, on the album. I do like the strings a lot.
You sure?
The synthesized strings.
The synthomatic strings.
But yeah, I mean, it's solid. It carries you through that particular song, but it's good. It's good. It's a rocker.
May I tell you my opinion on it?
If you didn't, I would leave.
It's the only reason I signed on to this. No, I like it. I really, again, I've said it a million times. I'll say it 2 million more.
Please do.
I really like this album. And now listening to this album, having recently just done Roots to Branches, I really feel that they are not sister albums, but like maybe they're cousins. There's a lot of genetic material that's the same between them.
Yeah.
And so they can make out if they want, because it's not that similar.
We wouldn't recommend them procreating, but they can make out. They can do hand stuff.
They can do hand stuff.
Just don't go the full Darwin on it, please, if you can manage that. Looking to the future, every now and then in this album, I will catch a little flute riff that's like, that's very rock flute to me.
Yes, sure. Yeah.
In this one in particular, the dual flute part.
Okay, in the very beginning.
It just smacks of rock flute for me for some reason.
Yeah, I agree. I think that there's something very riff-based about this song.
Yeah.
It's basically 3 or 4 really great riffs that are played in variation over and over again.
Yeah. You start with a riff bass, little sour cream, some scallions. You're good.
Yeah. You have to start with the riff and wait till it turns brown.
Yeah, right. Otherwise, you're eating raw riff, and then nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that. I do think that this song embodies the darker side of the sound that we're hearing throughout this album and Roots to Branches. It's very much in that. I mean, it's also called Black Mamba.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've got the darkness that we've seen peppered in here and there. We've got another return to the really hardness, the Moe's hardness.
Yes.
We've dabbled in pretty significantly in this album in particular.
Yes. It's got the drama this song has.
Mm-hmm.
In big part due to all of the instruments that are playing and the voice that's singing. But particularly, I think this album is just making such good use of Andrew Giddings.
Yes.
A lot of more of what this song is sound-wise than I had previously realized is Giddings, either on the piano or on the synth making the strings or somewhere in between.
Yeah, for all of them, all of the songs, he is all over the place, and it's great. I hope he got 3 people's salary. Doubt it. But he's doing a lot of work. He's doing a lot of work on this album, a lot of heavy lifting.
He didn't get any additional salary, but Ian did finance the installation of his third arm.
Everybody benefited from it, so it was a no-brainer.
Especially the tax bill. That was completely tax refundable.
Wow. Oh, yeah, for Jethro Tull, right?
Yeah, it was a good move overall.
That's an investment, yeah.
Before we get too deep into the musicality of the song, Nick, what is, in fact, a Black Mamba?
It's a 5-minute song in 4/4.
Okay.
It is a very venomous snake, is it not? Isn't it super venomous?
It's quite venomous. Its fangs are full of neurotoxins that can disable. That can disable a sizable creature, usually within 10 minutes.
Ooh.
Interestingly, the Black Mamba comes in a variety of colors, from gunmetal to purple, and is very rarely actually black. The reason it's named the black mamba is because the inside of its mouth
Ooh.
is inky jet black.
Cool.
So the last thing that you see
Is the black mamba striking?
the black mamba striking.
Collect all colors.
Don't try to catch them all.
Avoid all colors, actually, yes.
Don't try to catch any of them. Black mamba is native to sub-Saharan Africa, including Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Central African Republic, the Democratic Republic of Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo,
Congo!
South Sudan, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Somalia, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Burundi, Rwanda, Mozambique, Eswatini, Malawi, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Botswana, and South Africa, as well as Namibia and Angola.
So be careful if you're going to any of those places.
Yeah, which makes me wonder, did Ian encounter a black mamba, perhaps, on a vacation in Zimbabwe? It's possible.
It's possible.
It's equally likely he saw one in a reptilarium.
Maybe more likely, to be honest.
When they toured with wonderful prog rock band Reptilicus.
Yes, we all remember Reptilicus fondly.
We all remember them fondly.
Omen, what's the difference between venomous and poisonous?
I'm so glad you asked. Poisonous refers to a being or animal
Or thing.
or thing, I suppose, in which poison, a substance which is poisonous to humans, is contained in such a way that if the human being were to consume a portion or the whole of that item, creature, or being, that they would become poisoned. Whereas venom is meant to be injected into people, well, or anything.
Yeah.
Anything that's a mammal, or a bird, or a reptile, or a fish.
Poison is ingested, venom is injected.
Thank you, yes. And the mouth sabers of venomous creatures
Jesus Christ.
are hollow so that they can bite and then literally inject like a syringe. So cool.
They're like needles, yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, it's bonkers. And what's a neurotoxin?
It's
That's okay, you don't have to do that.
no, it affects the brain and the nerves. So it basically
yeah.
you're still alive and your meat is still good for eating purposes, but you can't, you're disabilitated. You can't do anything or think.
Yeah.
They can get, mambas can grow.
In rich soil, they like partial sunlight. They're sensitive to harsh winters.
They can get up to about 10 feet. Some specimens have grown to lengths of 14 feet 9 inches, or
My goodness.
approximately
3 omens.
5 meters. Wow.
Yeah.
It's a lot of snake.
5 meters is 15 feet, yeah.
Yeah. So, with that out of the way, Nick, let's talk more about the music.
Sure.
There is a muscularity to this song, really the whole album, but particularly in this song.
There's a slinkiness, but like not like, ooh, sexy panther slinky. It's more like when you can see the muscular undulation of a snake
Yeah.
in movement. It's more like that. It's more predator than sex pest.
Did you say sex pest?
I did. So sorry.
I've been one of those before.
Both predator and sex pest.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a danger, there's something elemental, there's something basic about this song, about the sound of this song.
Yeah, there's a competency, and the song is a killing machine. It does what it does, and it does it well, and it's been doing it for millennia.
Yeah, the design of this song has not changed
Has not evolved.
in a long time.
The dinosaurs were listening to this song
And rocking out to it.
so hard.
If only I had an opposable thumb so I could make the signal of the horns. Wait a minute, I actually have horns.
Yeah, they were originally tricorns. Yeah.
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 Interesting, this song, especially in comparison to a lot of songs on the album, has a very low ratio of singing to instrumentalism.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. We've got 2 paragraphs and then a couplet, and that's really it. And it's really the singing is additional flavor to the main body that is moving through.
The only song that is shorter lyric-wise on this album is Mango Surprise, which is literally just Ian saying hot mango flesh over and over again.
Yeah. Doesn't quite count.
Ian's voice, we have not talked about Ian's voice that much on this album.
It's true.
He's in fantastic voice here.
He really is. Yeah. Real good.
He sounds like he's having fun with it.
Yeah. He's really embracing it. He's an adrenaline junkie. He knows the danger that he's in, but he's accepting it and he's going with it by embracing the Black Mamba.
Yes. This song could have been called Dances with a Black Mamba.
Yes. The Kevin Costner sequel to Dances with Wolves.
Meanwhile, in an alternate universe, Samuel L. Jackson is saying, "Get these motherfucking wolves off this motherfucking plane."
We were one decision away from that universe.
That's right. Other things to comment on musically here.
Mhm.
Let's go all the way to the intro. We talked a little bit about that double flute.
Yep.
It's very soft. It has a lot of strength restrained.
Yes. Yeah. So we've got piano, the flute kind of talking back and forth. And with the flute, we get guitar kind of stinging in the background.
Yes.
And eventually bass pops into that as well. The really interesting thing about the guitar is we have the ba-ba-ba-ba-ba, like this. It's a phrase. We hear this phrase repeated a couple of times.
Beep, 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 beep.
But the guitar, after that last note, you hear just a tiny little lick of it. Just the flick of the tongue right at the very end.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
very intriguing. And it's not the same note. It's a different one every single time. It's really kind of, it almost feels off the cuff of Martin just really getting into it.
Great way to describe that. I think it really sets you up to listen to the whole rest of the song because, as we mentioned, there are relatively few riffs in this song. There's dee 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 beep 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 dee dee, and then dee 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 dee. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. Very simple theme-wise, but acoustically, sonically, we've got a lot to work with just on the variation. And there's not even that much variation, I don't think, as it goes along, but there's something that drives it, that it doesn't feel like, oh, this is a 5-minute song. Yes, it's a 5-minute song, but it's not an arduous pain to listen to.
I agree. It is a non-arduous delight to listen to.
Perfect.
And I think that a big role in that is Giddings switching up what he's playing, the instrument that he's playing on.
Yeah.
There's a really beautiful moment that very much harkens back to the kind of Eastern sounds of Roots to Branches, where Giddings does a kind of a string setting, but he, instead of going dim 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 dim, he goes dim.
Yeah.
It's that phrase where it's like wah, 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 wah,
Yeah.
dee, 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 dee.
It's playing the strings on a trombone.
Yeah. We talked about on the last album how that's a sound that is used frequently within specifically Indian orchestral music and with a lot of the instruments from that area.
Yeah, the strings are what couch this in a slight dark, exotic feel. If they weren't there, it would just be a hard-ass song and it'd be great. But those strings, they really do add a lot of flavor and texture. And just Andy in general, like we've been saying, like switching between the strings, the piano itself.
Yes.
Well, piano sound on the synth.
Yeah. Noyce, Jonathan Noyce, is doing great work on this song. He's laying in wait for a lot of the song where he's just doing dum 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 boom boom. But then sometimes he'll pick up the actual riff and play it just, 2 or 3 octaves lower.
Yeah.
There's a point, I think it's around 218, where I think he goes dum 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 dum.
All throughout, the bass is very noticeable. He's not in stealth mode in this one.
No, but he's mostly just laying low and then occasionally playing a riff where you're like, oh my God, I've been hearing the bass this entire time. That's right.
Right. He steps forward just out of the shadows and then steps back.
He's hiding in plain sight.
Yes. He has learned at this point how to do that.
You're like, that's not dangerous. It's just a log lying on the riverbank. Oh no, it's Jonathan Noyes.
Oh no, he's dragging me in. He's going to roll me.
He's black and yellow. I mean, he's red and yellow. He's going to roll me.
Yeah, crocodile.
Yeah.
After that little setup of, looks like about 20, 25 seconds of the piano, guitar, bass, flute kind of very gently, lightly to break into the really powerhouse of the song, Doane steps in on the snare, goes da, 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 and then everybody comes in.
Everyone rolls their eyes and says, oh, the Americans arrived.
Oh, here it is. American drumming, Doane Perry.
I guess it's gotta be loud. They tell him to be 2.5 minutes late to every set so that he'll start playing on time instead of early like all American drummers.
He's just so eager. He's so eager. He just wants to please.
He does. Otherwise, musically on this song, it ends with a fade out. We have Ian doing what seem like decorative, improvisational flute riffs on a theme. You know, he kind of takes the deep D, deep D, 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 and then extends it and makes differences on it and inverts it and responds to it. Oh, there's another thing I forgot. Early on, the first verse, we have Martin playing alongside of Ian's voice, but not in
concert with it.
Not in unison.
Yeah.
It's almost in harmony.
A bit, yeah.
It's like a third or a fifth above.
Yep.
It's a very interesting little relationship musically that they have in that moment. I love it.
Head through the lion's cage, head on a plate.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up because you always seem to clock onto that when that does happen. And you said that's also kind of an Eastern sound, right? When that happens, or am I making that up?
Unison playing?
Yeah.
I do actually remember reading that, that often an instrument will follow along directly with a singer's voice and provide almost like two voices. Whereas in Western music, that's rarer. You know, sometimes you have a backup instrument supporting the voice, but if that's the case, it's usually very low, or it's just picking out a couple of notes.
Yeah. This is going with the phrase as Ian is saying it.
But in a little bit of a different register.
Right.
It's really nice. I just love the flavor that creates.
It makes it so much more like out in the natural world feel as opposed to like hermetically sealed.
Yeah, I agree.
You're seeing the black mamba in the savannah as opposed to in the reptile house at the zoo.
And even if you're not seeing it, you're walking through the savannah and you're looking at all the shadows because you've heard the stories.
And your guide is saying, look out for snakes.
Yeah.
I don't know why he's Australian.
The Australian guy who moved to Namibia. Yeah, that's what he's saying.
I mean, if anybody knows about venomous creatures, it's the Australian guy.
It's the Australians, yeah.
Yeah, watch out for that drop bear. Omen.
Oh, hello, Nick.
Here we are at the middle of the snake. We are not yet digested, but we are inside.
We are inside. We have a hazmat suit on. We're just seeing where this takes us.
Partial digestion is really one of the main things that reminds me of our friend Brian Rabby. Friend of the pod, Brian Rabby, contributing yet again. Omen, what did Brian Rabby directly email you? What did he WhatsApp you?
Whether he knows it or not, or likes it or not, he's our best friend and a collaborator.
Yep.
So just reading from A Passion Play, the story of Ian Anderson and Jethro Tull by Brian Rabby. We've talked a lot about the songwriting process on this podcast, and here is just a little excerpt from Ian talking about the songwriting process. When it comes to writing the songs, it's not always the music first. I would always be the first to recognize that it's easier to write music for me than to write lyrics, but probably something less than 50% of the time, it's not the music first. It may be a lyrical idea. Could be a line of lyrics. It could be a title. It could be something that's a reference in prose terms that you haven't quite put into song/lyrical contexts. At least, it's some words, and that can be, in my case, less than 50% of the time. Let's say it's 35% or 40% of the time that there's
Ian,
something
we get it. We know it's under 50%.
something lyrical that predates the musical idea, or more than 50% of the time, it is the music
Jesus
first.
Christ. He had a word quota that he needed to fill, and he, not quite Dickensian, but he did it. It's okay.
He says 60% of the time, it's 30% of the time.
Let me pull out this pie chart.
He goes on to say, I think that somewhere in the subconscious, even with any kind of musical line, for me, it's not absolute. I very rarely write an instrumental piece of music consciously. It's more often the case that I write something, and I know behind it there is some idea. There is something just waiting to pop to the surface. And in terms of some word references, even if they haven't quite arrived yet, I know it's just a very small step away. So I think there's quite a strong relationship between lyrics and music in my case. Although, as I reiterate for the third or fourth time in this long sentence, it's likely to be more often than not that it's the music that comes first to mind.
Thank you so much, Ian, for letting us know the definition of songwriting.
We have to remember that was a verbal interview that has been transcripted, not something that he worked on in a writing class.
That's true. That's valid. That's valid.
But interesting to see that, we've falsely talked about his process in absolutes, as in he writes the music and then the words come, or the words come and then the music comes.
Yeah.
It sounds like he does some back and forth.
Yeah, I think we learned pretty quickly to not really know what the hell Ian does for a song, and every song is different, obviously. So it is pure guesswork. It has always been pure guesswork. Take it with a grain of salt, put a little asterisk behind it, and go back and listen to all of the podcasts with that in mind now.
Take it with a grain of salt, take it with a slice of lime, and do it with friends, and make sure that you hand a sober person your keys. Nick!
Oh, man. Mary?
I'm not a snake enthusiast. I'm a snake respecter.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I wouldn't say I have an unreasonable fear of snakes. I would say that I have a very reasonable reaction to jumping and screaming whenever I see a snake in the wild.
Well, in Florida, that is reasonable, I reckon, right? I mean, what do you have for venomous down there? Anything? Or is it just the constrictors that have taken, and pythons, right? Like it's all of the constrictors have kind of moved in, or some of them. There goes the neighborhood.
We have a couple of rattlesnakes. We have cottonmouths. We have the eastern coral snake.
Cottonmouths are aquatic, yeah?
Yes. We have the dusky pygmy rattlesnake, and we have the southern copperhead. So
The dusky pygmy rattlesnake sounds adorable.
yeah,
It's like getting killed by Hello Kitty.
Yeah. Oh, only 6 of Florida's 44 snake species are venomous.
Oh, okay. That's not bad. That's a good ratio.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like snakes. I think they're pretty cool. We always try to usher them and keep them safe.
I like them at a distance. I don't need them in my bath.
Well, shit, I got to cancel that for your birthday.
Alexa, remind me to cancel Snakescription.
Snake baths a subscription. It's a new snake every month. Or just a box of snakes.
Snake of the Month Club. Nick, what is the song Black Mamba about?
And if you use coupon code Talk Tull to Me, you can get half a snake for free every month. Black Mamba begins with the snake reference, but immediately goes away from it.
Yeah.
We're talking danger here,
Yes.
risky things.
We're talking danger. We're talking risk. Yep. We're talking tension.
Mm-hmm.
Hand in the snake pit, Black Mamba chase.
And in the snake pit, Black Mamba chase.
The writing of this song is more similar to El Nino than it is to something like Hunt by Numbers.
Just statement of fact, just simple sentence as opposed to kind of a story and
Yes, as opposed to narrative, and even in El Nino, we get more of a sense of narrative. In Black Mamba, it's really just a series of images.
yes.
Hand in the snake pit. Okay, we can see what that looks like. We don't know who or why or what hand or the wherefores thereof. And then Black Mamba chase, we can imagine what that might look like. Is it someone chasing a Black Mamba, or is it someone getting chased by a Black Mamba?
Right.
Is that related to the hand in the snake pit? Isn't it?
Either way, there's still a level of risk there.
The chance of death is above zero.
How much, Ian? It's the under 50%, but above
50% of the time that you stick your hand into a box that's 60% filled with snakes, you risk 70% of lifelessness.
of lifelessness.
The Black Mamba chase. Yeah, so yeah, I think we have risk. And then that continues. Head through the lion's cage. Head on a plate.
Head through the lion's cage, head on a plate.
That feels biblical to me.
As it should. Who were the guys who went to the Lion's Den? Beep Shack, Reap Shack, and Amindigo?
They were not the lion's den.
Oh, they went to some sort of
Like a furnace. They went to a
furnace.
furnace, yeah. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Yeah.
Daniel.
Daniel in the lion's den.
Yeah. So you're referencing a Roman practice, which was to feed people to lions for public sport. They did a lot of fun stuff like that.
Right. Throw them in the gladiatorial arena with a big cat.
With a big pussy cat.
Just see how it goes.
See how it goes.
Yeah.
Ian would have been like, please don't throw me to the cat pit. Mm-hmm.
I would hate that.
All the history books would say, and then Rome was destroyed by a Celt riding a pride of tigers.
Who was it? Nero fiddled while Rome burned. Ian fluted while Rome burned.
Ian played his fire flute, which burned Rome down.
That's right. Yeah.
So, head through the lion's cage, that seems like a spectacularly bad idea.
Right. Yeah.
And head on a plate. See, to me, those two things are connected. If you put your head through the lion's cage, your head might end up as a lion's dinner.
Yeah. And head on a plate was
John the Baptist.
John the Baptist. Yes. Thank you. So, yes, John the Baptist, head on a plate. Daniel in the lion's den. Maybe, either way, dangerous situation, less than ideal result.
2 feet on the hot coals, last dance at the ball.
2 feet on the hot coals, last dance at the ball.
Yeah, risk.
Yeah. Again, dangerous, something that will physically harm.
Feet on the hot coals reminds me of two different things. One is the supposed test of your concentration that is reputed to be practiced in some traditions where if your mind is focused enough, you can walk across hot coals without being damaged.
Yeah.
The other thing it makes me think of is the torture,
Yeah.
specifically the Inquisition.
Yeah.
Hot coals on the feet, I think, are a pretty good go-to torture.
Yeah. For this in particular, it feels more like the former, where now we're getting into an instance where it's a little more clear that these are definitely dangerous things, but they're not guaranteed to be dangerous.
They're a risk, yes.
If you do it right, you could get by without full bodily harm.
And same with Last Dance at the Ball. If you're at the ball and it's your last dance, that is your last chance to achieve whatever you've been trying to achieve at this ball.
That also sounds like a euphemism for death. Yeah, he danced his last dance.
Oh, interesting. Sure, yeah. Or the end of anything.
Yeah, right.
Last cheeseburger in paradise.
What a shame.
What a shame. Blindfold on the tightrope whenever you call.
Blindfold on the tightrope whenever you call.
Okay, so here's the first kind of relationship, the first you in here.
Mm-hmm.
Blindfold on the tightrope, pretty obvious risky behavior.
Right?
And then this verse finishes up with, be my slippery slider, Black Mamba, crawl over me.
Be my slippery slider, like mamba, crawl over me.
We've got a second person singular, or plural, honestly, could be. But that leads us to having a first person narrator as well.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Up until this point, it's been statement to fact.
Yes, yes.
Now it makes it a little more personal. And that, I love that blindfold on the tightrope whenever you call. Because the whenever you call, to be honest, like feels like it could be applied to every single one of those leading up to this as well. Mm-hmm. Hand in the snake pit whenever you call. Head through a lion's cage whenever you call. And it's saying, baby, you got such a hold on me, I will do anything for you.
Yes, and also, I know when you call, I'm in danger, girl.
Oh, yeah. There's the, I'm so committed, I will do something. But also, in this relationship, it is dangerous in and of itself.
Yes, I like it. I think that we're coming to the conclusion that this is a song under the category of Danger Woman or Danger Lover.
Yes. Which we don't have many of. I mean, the biggest danger is pedophilia up until this point.
I can't say that.
Why not?
Statute of limitations. I think that, yes, if we re-look at all the lines of this through the lens of this is a baddie with a natty baddie.
From Minnesota?
Yeah. It's, if you're going to put your hand in the snake pit, you might get a black mamba chase. Like, you know what happens. It's like the modern song, 1, don't pick up the phone. You know he's only calling because he's drunk and alone. 2, don't let him in. You have to kick him out again.
1, don't pick up the phone. You know he's only calling because he's drunk and alone. 2, don't let him in. You have to kick him out again.
It's like, I know this person is dangerous. I know that if I go there, I could be bitten, dismembered, fall to my death, burned.
Yeah.
But come here, baby. I can't get enough of you.
Right. It's accepting the danger. It's not an inevitability, but it is a possibility.
This is reminding me of something. There's another song that really is clicking with this theme here.
Tall song or?
Yeah. What's the one about who's got tabs on the crab?
Who's got the tabs on the crab?
That is Night in the Wilderness.
Night in the Wilderness. Yes, that sense of this relationship is unpredictable.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I get it.
And I feel like there are some other, well, even sleeping with the dog. There's that sense of, I don't really have a handle on this relationship. I'll do my best, but just when I think I've got it figured out, I end up in the doghouse.
Yeah. That one feels like the risk is a lot less. There's a domesticity to it.
Yes, and it's more about the unpredictability of the other person's mood or mind. Whereas this is like, I know it's going to be a bad time.
Right.
And I can't wait.
Right. This is not marriage material that we're talking about here. This is good time material.
This is a good time, and maybe you wake up paralyzed.
You definitely wake up without underpants on.
You're here for a good time, not an undigested time.
Because of the snake?
Unhinge your jaw, baby.
Okay.
We could be totally off, but I mean, it sounds like I feel like we're in a reasonable vein here. Continuing on. Dark thoughts of the sleepless hung out to dry.
Dark thoughts of the sleepless hung out to dry.
Ooh, I mean, that could be a lot. That could be about a lot of things.
Yeah. What do you make of that one?
Well, sometimes when you can't sleep, you end up having dark thoughts. And sometimes when you have dark thoughts, it makes you unable to sleep.
Okay. What's hung out to dry? What's that phrase?
Well, hung out to dry typically refers to laundry. You know, when you're air drying your laundry.
Well, yeah.
It could kind of mean for everyone to see. You know, to air one's dirty laundry is to show your business to the world. Which, in connection with the whole digital theme of this album, I don't think necessarily this is what Ian meant, but it kind of makes me think of, in the modern context, like not being able to sleep, having these dark thoughts, and like tweeting about it.
Hung out to dry is the same thing as thrown under the bus. To abandon someone to danger or to allow them to be criticized, punished, or suffer unfairly without trying to help them.
That's the other more accurate turn of meaning for that phrase, yeah. Does that mean the sleepless are hung out to dry?
Yeah, right. Are the sleepless hung out to dry and you're having dark thoughts about them?
Or are you, the sleepless, hung out to dry and having dark thoughts? Also interesting to note, every single one of these lines is one sentence with a period.
Yes. Yeah, good call.
Except for the couplet.
Yeah.
Slip through the bedclothes, unblinking eye.
Slip through the bedclothes, unblinking eye.
So I had for a moment thought that maybe this whole song was a metaphor for el penis.
El pene.
The pinicio.
Il pene. So the Italian word for penne pasta is P-E-N-N-E.
Yep.
The Italian word for penis is P-E-N-E.
Yes.
If you order penne arrabbiata, you got to be careful. You're not ordering an angry penis.
Yeah, you want to make sure you're saying penne,
Penne.
not
Penne.
not penne. Yeah, the other word for penis in Italian is cazzo, which is much more frequently used, and it's more like dick.
Slang, yeah. Cazzo arrabbiata.
Cazzo arrabbiata. So I think for me, this is a little bit of the only being called when you're needed dynamic in a relationship, where maybe it's like a friends with benefits situation, but one of them has more feelings than the other, and is just lying there languishing, being like, oh my God.
Yeah. It's a hey girl, you up.
It's a hey girl, you're up.
Yeah.
And the slipping through the bedclothes, unblinking eye is the, oh, you are up.
What's the unblinking eye? I mean, I know that snakes don't have eyelids, so that's that reference. How does it translate specifically?
I think it's the predatory aspect of it. It's the
Oh, okay.
there you are.
Oh, so our narrator is the prey.
Yes.
Okay.
I think this entire song is about being hunted and loving it.
The slip through the bedclothes, unblinking eye, that's the predator.
Yes.
He's saying what he's seeing.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
He's lying there in his dark thoughts, and then suddenly through the bedclothes comes this sexy predator.
So bedclothes are just sheets, not pajamas.
Yes.
They're just sheets. Yeah.
Oh, yes, of course, yeah. Long tongue flickering, fixed stare grip.
Long tongue flickering, fixed their grip.
You know, there's this old myth about snakes that they can hypnotize a creature
Yes.
just by staring at
Right.
it. I think that's a myth.
I think it's more undulation, particularly with cobras. They've got those round on their hood.
Right.
It's a prey that's fear of that.
Right.
They freeze in the face of a big, scary predator.
For reference, watch the scene in which the song Trust in Me happens from Disney's The Jungle Book.
That's right.
Trust in me.
Is that Kaa?
Kaa the snake,
Yeah.
yeah. Great hypnotization scene there. But this idea that, like, you see the predator and the predator just locks onto your eyes with this, like, it's tasting you with its tongue, it's gripping you with its stare, it's about to grip you with other things.
Yeah, and you lock up. It's the third of the fight or flight. It's the fright. It's the
Right.
freeze.
Right.
Yeah.
Flight, thright, or snite.
That one. It's the thnight.
It's the
I can
thnight.
say very confidently.
What are you guys doing tonight? Sweet venomous potion held to my lip.
Sweet venomous potion held to my lip.
I don't know if you've ever been attracted to a toxic person, but sometimes you get this sense of like, ooh, give me that poison.
Yeah,
Ooh,
right.
It's so bad for me.
Yeah. I know full well that this is not good for me, but I'm accepting it anyway. I'm ingesting it.
Yeah. The poison apple.
Right. Well, she didn't know it was poisonous.
She knew.
She knew. Let's not lie to ourselves.
She's like, oh, can't stop eating these poisoned apples.
But, I mean, poison apple is Snow White, but it does make me think of the fruit of knowledge, the apple, quote unquote, from the fruit of knowledge with the snake, Satan as a snake.
Well, of course, and coming at this song, both from a writing standpoint and a listening standpoint, immersed in Western Judeo-Christian culture, whether we like it or not, that is implicit in all of this.
Yeah.
Even though snakes are quite lovely creatures and don't bite humans unless they're cornered, and we can't stop cornering them.
Good luck cornering a snake.
But yes, there's this sense of corruption, evil.
Yeah, they're vilified. They're cold-blooded. They don't have eyelids. You know, they're separate enough from us that they're alien and scary.
Yeah.
I disagree, but more often than not, most people don't like slimy, quote unquote slimy. They're not slimy.
No, they're not slimy.
No.
You're thinking of
Earthworms.
Yeah. I think that there's an aspect to this whole snake metaphor that perhaps Ian really does like. Maybe Ian likes snakes, maybe he doesn't like snakes. But
50% of the time.
50%, I would say about 50% of the time, over 50% of the time. No less than 45% of the time. Depending on which end of the snake you start with, could be up to 60%. The fact that snakes are regenerative,
The shedding of skin, yeah.
the shedding of their skin, from a poetic sense, they renew themselves every season.
Yeah.
I think that's something that is very relevant to Ian's artistic life.
You think it's a subconscious relation? Like, oh yeah, I do that.
Could be subconscious,
Yeah.
could be conscious.
He's a snake in a cat's body. It checks out. Don't think about it too hard.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yep. Well, and we know that he likes predators.
If there's anything I know about Ian, he's a fan of Predators. The movie, the big cat.
And then finally, we have a tropical whisper. This is the couplet.
Oh, before we dive into that, we didn't really cover Be My Slippery Slider, Black Mamba Crawl Over Me. I mean, he's just inviting it now. It's not even a matter of, oh, should I? Oh, I don't know. He's like,
No, he's
slither
full
all up
in.
on this, baby.
Yeah. I am yours to devour.
And, you know, if you were just lying there with a black mamba slithering over you, it might not bite you. It could still potentially not end poorly.
I guess.
There's always that chance. There's always that modicum of hope of it's not definitely bad for me.
If I lie here still enough, maybe I'll escape the worst effects of this experience.
It's like playing Russian roulette.
I don't know that the lessons are equally applied to those two things, but yes, I can understand if you find yourself in bed with a snake, maybe the best thing to do is just to lay there until it goes away.
Yeah. That's what you did with your ex-girlfriend. Just lay there lifeless. Like if you're being attacked by a grizzly bear.
Surely she'll go away at some point.
Don't be prey, be carrion. They don't want it.
In my sense, it was more like I was Prometheus and she was the eagle coming and eating my liver out every day.
Every single day.
Every day. And every day it would grow back like some cruel joke. Finishing up with the couplet,
Couple it up.
we have a tropical whisper, a sibilant kiss, soft strike teasing, dangerous bliss.
A tropical whisper, ooh, a sibilant kiss, soft strike teasing, dangerous bliss.
That's 3 ideas. A tropical whisper, a sibilant kiss, soft strike teasing. And then we have a colon, dangerous bliss.
Yeah, and 9 S's.
So that's telling us these things are dangerous bliss.
It all comes down to the punctuation.
It does for me anyway.
I'm so glad that we have an English major on our team.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah. Yeah. A tropical whisper, a sibilant kiss, soft strike teasing. That's fascinating because one of the features of the Black Mamba, one of the features of the 2024 Black Mamba series is they're known for being able to strike at long distances. There's sort of a rumor of them that they can chase you very fast. They can't actually go that fast. They can only go up to about 20 miles an hour, which is fast enough.
Fast enough, yeah.
But they can strike at surprising and terrifying speeds. And so if you see a snake curled up and you're like, oh, let me back away, you should probably back up again twice as much.
Yeah, they're spring loaded, these guys.
And you don't know how long they are.
They're like the snake in the peanut can if the snake could kill you.
Yeah. They're like the snake in the peanut can if the peanuts weren't the only thing killing you.
If you didn't have a peanut allergy.
If you had a snake allergy.
It's a snake covered in peanuts.
What are you allergic to? Snakes. Snake venom, getting killed by snakes, getting swallowed by snakes.
We were at the library. We take Rook to Lego Club at the library.
Of course you do.
The library where I'm a member of the board.
You are.
These kids had finished and they ran over to a different play area and they were playing like restaurant or something. And this one girl was like, oh, I can make you this, but I see by your bracelet that you're allergic to peanuts, but it's only peanut dust. So we'll rinse them off.
Wow. Wow. That's great. Good for them.
Just rinse off that peanut dust. Everything will be fine.
Just rinse it out. I see by your bracelet that you're not a snake fan.
I'm not a snake fan.
I'm going to seat you in the no snaking section. You'll still get some snakes, but it's a lot less.
It's secondhand snake. It's fine.
Oh, God. We have interpreted this to be about a lover.
Some sort of like saucy relationship. Yeah.
I want to posit.
Oh, deposit it, Omen. Oviposit it.
I don't want to count our snakes before they hatch, but I do think that this relationship, this feeling, could apply to anything. This could apply to drinking. This could apply to black tar heroin. You know when you mess with it, it's dangerous. You know that you are lying there in the dark thinking about it. And when it slips over to you and you hold that sweet poison to your lips,
Okay.
you're like, you know what? We're just going to go with it. Just let this wash over me.
I was going to object.
Until I said black tar heroin.
And then I was like, where
No.
and how much? I thought it was too sexual to ignore. But when you come to things that you are addicted to, it is the same chemical. Black mamba crawl over me. That's the addiction. That's the urge that you cannot control.
Or it could be that the drug or whatever the intoxicant is hitting your system and
Yeah.
and the neurotoxins poisoning your, feelings. So maybe it feels amazing to get bitten by a mamba. Don't try this at home, anyone listening.
Do not.
But who knows? Maybe it feels great in those moments when you're fading away.
Probably not.
That's like getting sucked off by an angel.
Oh, I've got the dirt monkey on me back.
Yeah. This could be a song about anything that you desire that you know is bad for you.
Yeah, I get that. It does feel very sexy.
Sure.
But yeah, no, it certainly can translate to, well, I should definitely not eat another cookie, but I'm going to. Ooh. Oh, that sweet, sweet cookie crawling over me.
Black treacle.
Which is just molasses, isn't it?
Yeah, which is black.
Yeah, it is. Black tar molasses.
Molasses. Nick, next week we are skipping over Mango Surprise since we have already covered it.
Surprise.
That's the surprise. And what are we going to be talking about? What are we going to be bending our listeners' ears about next week?
This one is certainly much more verifiably sexy. It is Bends Like a Mamba, Like a Willow.
Yes, the title is Bends Like a Willow. And we will be talking about that next week.
CC.
Until next week, if you would like to put your hand into the snake pit that is our Discord chat, feel free to do so by giving us $5 a month.
You can feed us rats in the form of $5 a month. and we'll swallow them whole. And then we'll be in a torpor and sleep for a week.
Oh, that sounds nice.
And then we'll come back and you can feed us another one. No, it's a month. It's a month. We'll sleep for a month. And then you just feed us again in a month.
Until next week, my one eye is unblinking. I'm Omen Thomas Sade.
I am a sibilant kiss. I am Nick McGill.
We are the rival males that compete by attempting to subdue each other by intertwining their bodies and wrestling with their nicks. The Feckless Momes.
And this is the long tongue flickering in your ear. Talk told to me.
And we're so lucky to finish out the 23rd Annual Herpetology Conference. Please welcome to the stage, along with some of his best little buddies, it's Jim Snaker! Yeah! Jim, we see that you have several cases with you. Who you got there with you?
Good eye. Good eye, Tony. We've got ourselves a boomslang. We've got a black mamba.
Wow.
And we've got an entire 5-gallon bucket full of garter snakes.
Wow, Jim, that's fantastic. You really do. Your lectures do bring all the snakes to the yard. We have a question here from the audience about which of the ones you have up there is the most venomous snake?
Oh, it's a toss-up between the black mamba and all of the garter snakes.
I see that the black mamba has just latched his fangs onto your upper shoulder. Is that normal?
It's normal for a predator to do that. I've been bitten before, so it should be fine. I've got about half an hour.
Oh, okay. Well, we wrap up here in about 15, so that should be
fantastic.
Plenty of time to get you to the hospital.
Oh, we've got an ambulance standing by.
Oh, that's wonderful. Jim, I do see that all of the garter snakes have like a barrel of monkeys, exited this 5-gallon bucket that you brought. And much like a bucket line, they've helped each other hop into one of your boots, and I hear a sound of chewing. What's going on there?
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. The garter snakes, they're pretty harmless, but they do not take well to captivity, and they have turned upon me.
Yeah, I see that. You look like you're in a great deal of pain.
I am, but I've been bitten before, so...
Oh, you've been bitten before, that's right.
That's right. I'm a pro. I can hide it.
Jim, we actually have a question from the audience here. This is first-year herpetology student Jenny. Jenny, what would you like to ask Jim?
Hello, Mr. Jim. I'm a big fan of your TV show.
I'm so glad you like it, Jenny.
I always just wanted to ask you, are you always this sweaty and pale?
Oh no, definitely not. You can see it's the black mamba venom. It's starting to course through my body. The neurotoxin is starting to wear away, and I'm losing control of all of my bodily functions.
Thank you so much. I can't wait to see your next show.
Okay, that's enough, Jenny. Jim, I see that your assistant there has cut a little hole in your arm and is suctioning the blood out of your snake-bitten arm with his mouth. Is this someone that you have employed full-time, or is this just for these presentations?
Oh no, he's definitely my snake venom sucker. At this point, I think we'll probably have to replace all of the blood. It's mostly venom at this point.
Jim, I'm just getting platelets. By this point, you're all sucked dry.
Okay. Get the bloodmobile on the line. We should be prepared for that.
It's actually my 15 here in a second, so I'll get the bloodmobile right after.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We don't want to upset OSHA.
Yeah, it's the Bloodsuckers Union. I would continue to suck you dry for another 15 minutes, but listen, I gotta take the break.
Oh, I get it. I don't want him to pay any fines.
We have a question over here from a doctor, I believe. This is.
I think we better wrap it up shortly. So I need to feel a little woozy.
Yeah, can we turn up Jim's mic? There's something happening to his volume. Jim, we just have one last question from the doctor here.
Oh, good.
How safe is it for the snakes, I'm reading this in my own voice because the doctor handed me a written note because he has a sore throat. How safe is it for the mamba to eat you since you have a high level of prescription medications in your body?
It actually is better for the mamba. It makes it more tolerant
Yeah.
and dangerous.
And that's all the time we have for Jim. Thank you all so much for coming to this year's Herpetology Conference. You can pick up your very own snake on the way out. Surprise, everybody. And just remember, black and yellow, you're a safe fellow. Nope, black and red. Well, if you see a snake, it might kill you. And most importantly, Talk Tell to Me is a proud member of the Feckless Mom's Audio Network.
Get a stretcher.